My friends, let me tell you something. God never wastes anything. Every experience, every trial, every so-called wasted year, he knows how to turn it around for his purpose. The problem is that we often look at our past and see failure. We see regrets, missed opportunities, and mistakes. But God sees a plan in motion. When God steps in, he does not simply repair, he redeems. He takes what was lost and makes it even greater. When you surrender your past to God, he takes what you thought was wasted and transforms it into wisdom. Nothing is ever truly lost in his hands. The pain you endured, the failures you regret, and the years you believe were wasted, God is using them to mold you into the person he created you to be. Every disappointment carried a lesson, and every setback contained instruction for your future. Look at the life of Joseph. He went through betrayal, false accusations, and imprisonment. For years it seemed like his life was a series of wasted opportunities. But in every season, God was developing him, shaping his character, and preparing him for a position he never saw coming. When the time was right, everything he went through made sense. What he learned in the pit and the prison gave him the wisdom to rule in the palace. God does the same with you. He does not erase the past, he redeems it. What was once a stumbling block becomes a stepping stone. What once made you weak now makes you strong. And when you allow him to use your experiences, you gain wisdom that will guide you into the future he has prepared. One of the clearest signs that God is redeeming your wasted years is that new opportunities start to appear where you least expect them. You may have spent years feeling stuck, believing your best chances have passed you by, but when God steps in, he does not just restore, he accelerates. He brings new doors, divine connections, and fresh assignments that position you exactly where you need to be. Think of Moses. He spent 40 years in the wilderness after fleeing Egypt, likely believing his time of purpose was over. But when God called him through the burning bush, it was proof that what seemed like wasted years were only preparation for what was ahead. In one moment, everything shifted, and the same man who once ran from Pharaoh was now called to confront him. The same God who called Moses is calling you. Do not ignore the small doors he is opening. Sometimes the smallest opportunities lead to the greatest breakthroughs. What God has for you will not pass you by. If he is bringing new opportunities into your life, it is because he is positioning you for the restoration of everything you thought was lost. Stay ready. The God begins to redeem your wasted years. Something awakens deep inside you. The dreams you buried long ago start to stir again. The passion you thought had faded begins to return. This is not by accident. This is God breathing new life into the purpose he placed in you from the beginning. When he restores, he does not just give you back lost time. He reignites the fire within you to accomplish what you were created to do. Look at Peter. After denying Jesus 3 times, he likely felt his calling was over. He went back to fishing, returning to the life he once knew. But when Jesus restored him, he did not just forgive him, he recommissioned him. He gave him a renewed passion to feed his sheep, to preach the gospel, and to fulfill the destiny he was always meant for. And Peter, who once ran in fear, became a bold voice that changed the world. God is doing the same for you. The passion that life tried to kill is coming back. The purpose that felt lost is being restored. You are not done. When God revives your spirit, it is a sign that your greatest days are still ahead. When God begins to redeem your wasted years, your influence starts to grow. The very things that once caused you pain become the foundation of your testimony. And your story begins to impact those around you. God never restores just for your benefit. He restores so that his glory can be seen through you. What you thought was a season of loss was actually preparation for the people he has called you to reach. Look at Job. He lost everything, his wealth, his health, and even his children. But when God restored him, he didn't just give back what was lost, he gave him double. Job's story became a testimony of God's faithfulness, encouraging countless others throughout history. His suffering was not wasted, and neither is yours. Your trials have positioned you to speak to people you never could have reached otherwise. The wisdom you gained, the battles you fought, and the lessons you learned now serve as a light for others walking through their own struggles. Do not be surprised when people start seeking your advice, listening to your story, and drawing strength from your journey. Your influence is growing because God is using you as a vessel for His redemption. God is not limited by lost time, missed opportunities, or past failures. When He redeems, He does not just restore what was lost, He makes it greater than before. Your pain is producing wisdom. New doors are opening. Your passion is being reignited, and your influence is expanding. These are signs that God is at work in your life. The years you thought were wasted were never wasted in God's plan. He was shaping you, preparing you, and positioning you for something greater. What seemed like delays were actually divine setups. And now your redemption is in motion. Do not dwell on what was lost. Focus on what God is restoring. He is not just giving you back time. He is giving you back purpose, vision, and destiny. Walk forward in faith, knowing that nothing in your life is beyond His power to redeem. The best is not behind you. The best is ahead of you. Keep your eyes on Him and watch as He turns every so-called wasted year into a testimony of His unfailing goodness. Get ready. Your time of redemption has come.